Mr. Bruce Reynolds.
Okay, thank you, CEO. Good afternoon, everyone. It's fantastic to see a star-studded, packed-out audience today. So many great and well-known members of our community have turned up this evening. Fantastic to see you. Welcome to the annual Electors General Meeting in the City of Perth. In acknowledgement for the upcoming 8th of March 2025 state election and the expectant issue of writs by the State Governor on Wednesday the 5th of February 2025, the Lord Mayor will not be presiding at tonight's meeting. The Lord Mayor has an approved leave of absence commencing on the date of the issue of the writs until the outcome of the state election is formally announced. As the motions for tonight's meeting will be considered by Council in the February Ordinary Council meeting, I will be presiding as the Electors General Meeting at the Electors General Meeting and the subsequent February Ordinary Council meeting to ensure consistency and continuality in the meeting. This meeting is being live streamed and the recording will be available on the City's website following the meeting. I've set a 5-minute time limit for each elector to ask questions and to move motions at tonight's meeting as per the usual process in accordance to the City of Perth Standing Orders local law. This is the same time limit that allows for people to wish to make deputations to the Council. I formally declare the meeting open at 5:04. And I'd also respectfully like to acknowledge our traditional owners on the land of which we meet, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. It's a privilege to be standing on Whadjuk Noongar country, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. CEO, if you could please recite the prayer.
Almighty God, under whose providence we hold responsibility for this city, grant us wisdom to understand its present needs, foresight to anticipate its future growth, and grace to serve our fellow citizens with integrity and selfless devotion. And to thee be all blessing and glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Okay. Moving on to item 2, I would like to acknowledge our fellow elected members, noting that while they are seated in their usual positions, tonight they are in the capacity of electors of the City of Perth and will be asked to observe the same requirements as the electors in attendance. I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Gobbett, Councillor Wellard. Councillor Bevan is attending a funeral and is expected to be a little bit late, but he is coming shortly. Councillor Doshi, Councillor Leza and Councillor Gonsalves. Councillor Coe is an apology for this evening. Okay. I'd also like to welcome the Chief Executive Officer and other officers in attendance. And most importantly, we'd like to welcome the City of Perth electors in attendance this evening and any other members of the public and the media. The order of business and details of the procedure of this afternoon's meeting is outlined in the agenda for this meeting, which is available on the website and also at the entrance of the chamber. The purpose of the meeting for the City of Perth electors is to consider the City's 23-24 annual report, including the financial statements and auditor's report, and this will be the first item of our business today. The Council accepted the 23-24 annual report and the annual financial statements at the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 10th of December 2024. This meeting will then consider items for general business relating to electors' questions and to motions. Item 3 is the Lord Mayor's message. So I do have a message from the Lord Mayor, which if we can bear with me, I'll read out. Welcome to the annual Electors General Meeting. No matter how you measure 23-24, Perth has witnessed the biggest year on record. From record economic spending to record-breaking numbers of people visiting, exploring and enjoying our city across every season. In 2023-24, our streets came alive and our businesses thrived. From a business perspective, we saw a 10% increase in visitation compared with the previous year. That also coincided with a 21% growth in the city's nighttime economy. The run of consecutive months of record economic spend now dates back to December 2022. Perth has also proved to be the place to do business, with our CBD outperforming capital cities in terms of office vacancy rates, returning the lowest vacancy rate since 2015. Perth has cemented its place as the events heart of Western Australia. We have made a deliberate effort as a team to build an event schedule that resets Perth as a city to visit all year round and not just in our summer months. We have created homegrown events like the month-long Boorloo Heritage Festival, which brought 90,000 people to 103 events in the trademark off-peak season of April. We also drove winter numbers up with the Plateful Perth August dining campaign, and we brought lightscapes back to Kings Park, resulting in more than 110,000 people enjoying their City of Light in a fresh new way in winter. Tree Month in May was also revitalised, resulting in 250 trees being planted alongside and with our community. These events could not have been made possible without our partners. There has been a modern approach taken by the City of Perth over the last 2 years, and this year these efforts culminated in 13 event partners including Lottery West, Rio Tinto, Roy Hill and Hancock Prospecting, providing $2.4 million in funding for free marquee events, community events that have helped activate our city like never before. The city has also committed more than $6 million to sponsorships and grants to activate and improve the city experience with our residents and visitors. The revenue from our parking business is vital supporting these events and helps keep costs down and rates low. There have also been less obvious aspects to the great work and achievements of the City of Perth. And it does read like a did you know. So if you'll just bear with me, did you know these? In 2024, did you know that 250 trees and 16,000 plants were planted and established? 250,000 kilolitres of water was conserved with smart irrigation systems, ensuring we drew almost 30% less than our allocation. More than 3,900 tonnes of waste was recycled. 1.7 million drivers took advantage of our free parking initiatives, resulting in $12 million being returned to our community. 90% of our committed projects have been delivered. The last of the 215 recommendations assigned to the city stemming from the Perth inquiry have been completed. The City of Perth represented Australia as the host of the World Energies Partnership AGM here in Perth, and we presented the draft Riverfront Master Plan that is set to shape Perth's future. And of course, there have been numerous challenges to overcome. One of the biggest challenges the city and our state have ever faced is the unprecedented biological infestation known as the shothole borer. Some of WA's most historically and culturally rich trees located in the city are under threat, and the city's team have done an outstanding job to fight the borer and save our tree canopy. In continuing to deliver world-class services for a safe, clean and green and inclusive city, we've also turned our eye to the future. We are currently home to more than 32,000 residents, and we expect that to be up to 55,000 people who will live here in Perth by 2036. While we know our city consistently ranks as one of the most livable in the world, we need to make sure we have the right infrastructure and services in place to cater for the growing population. I know this evening meeting is about last year, but we'd also like to briefly tease the year ahead. We'll be working on a bold new city-shaping plan for the future, the draft Riverfront Master Plan, which has the potential to deliver a world-class river park destination benefiting West Australians for decades to come. We do look forward to engaging with the community in a conversation about the riverfront and other priorities for Perth in the new financial year. It's 2025 and now is the right time to be bold about our future, and this annual report showcases the way we're working with our stakeholders and partners to deliver what is needed to keep the city shining bright for decades to come. Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'll also quickly add something on behalf of myself in regards to the Lord Mayor's comments. And today marks the first time presiding this council. And as many of you know, the Lord Mayor is about to commence a leave of absence, and it's fair to say the chances he will not preside over any further meetings before the March election. With that in mind, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and commend him for the incredible work and dedication he has demonstrated over the last four and a half years. As a fellow councillor and a member of the public like you all, I don't think anyone could have foreseen just how effective, committed, passionate, hard-working Lord Mayor would prove to be. The City of Perth is undeniably in a much stronger position today because of his leadership. On a personal note, I can't speak more highly of the support and effort he has extended to me to ensure a smooth transition during the handover period. He has been generous in allowing me to shadow him, sharing relevant information and duties, and providing me with everything I need to help continue the work he has started, giving the city the best possible opportunity to maintain the momentum he has set. I'd also like to take this opportunity as we consider the annual report and hear questions and motions from the gallery to express my gratitude, not just as a councillor, but also as a proud elector of the City of Perth, to the entire administration team. Thank you to all our general managers who consistently give the city every chance to grow and to thrive while providing exceptional service and amenities to us all. And to our CEO, Michelle Reynolds, your hard work, patience and leadership is nothing short of extraordinary. I can confidently say that Michelle is one of the most dedicated and capable colleagues I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and we are all very fortunate to have her at the helm. The City of Perth is the envy of councils across our great state, and that is a direct result of the exceptional team that we have in place. As you address the council later today with some great motions and some great questions, just hope you keep in mind the tireless commitment and passion and investment that our team pours into our great city every day. It's a privilege to be a part of it, an outstanding group who are all united and desire to make Perth the best it can be. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I'll now hand over to the CEO to speak to the City's financial statement and auditors report. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. The Chief Financial Officer will provide a short presentation on the City's financial statements and auditors report in 23-24. Over to you, Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you very much, CEO. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of the city's financial highlights for the 23-24 year. I will just say that I'm currently sitting behind the two stands in the gallery, so I'm flying a little blind, but I will be asking one of our governance officers to advance the slides as we go along. If we get out of sync, please just give us a strange look and we'll get it resolved as quickly as possible. So if we can get on to the first slide, which is headed Financial Performance 23-24. Ah, that's better. Got it. Okay, just a few things here we'd like to call out. First of all, in terms of the city's operating revenue, we actually finished the year 3.5% ahead of our budget expectations. There was a couple of factors of significance that contributed to that. We had a very successful year with our investment portfolio, and interest earnings were up substantially. We also received a prepayment of the 24-25 government grants, which pushes the number up, but the downside is that money comes off the next year. Our capital revenue was $13.8 million, which included a $3 million dividend from the Catalina estate, which is an investment the city is a partner in with a number of other local governments. Operating expenditure was just 0.8% under budget for the year. That under budget was primarily due to two factors, one of which was the city was successful in securing a rebate from some parking levies on unused bays, and also a small staff cost saving. The capital program, we delivered 83% of the intended program. The benchmark for us each year is 80%, so that's a great achievement there at $39.7 million. The rates revenue came in at $104.2 million, and that was generated from 20,771 properties with a gross rental value of $1.7 billion. The last figure on that particular slide there, the operating result shows a calculated figure of 3.1 million deficit. That number would actually have been substantially positive, but for the impact of writing off the value of assets to Perth Concert Hall when we had to hand over that vesting order. Next slide, please. Thank you. In terms of the financial performance, in terms of funding sources, you'll see this graph, probably the most significant message there is not just the dependence on rates, but more specifically the dependence on parking revenue. the larger that parking revenue segment is, obviously the less is coming out of the ratepayers' pockets in rates. Those two are by far away the biggest funding factors that the city has, but you will notice interest revenue there is over $12.5 million, is significant, and fees and charges and rental revenue includes commercial waste charges in that number as well. So all up, that was a $269 million funding pool. Next slide, please. And the way that $269 million was actually dispersed, we'll show you there. If you're starting at 12 o'clock on that graph, you'll see employee costs and then moving around through materials and contracts and following its way around the rest of the circle there. The assets created figure is the 39.6 million that we just referenced a short while ago. And that loss on disposal, which is probably the biggest single figure to call out there, 25 million, it's recognised as a loss on disposal. That's because the value of all of the assets that the city had at the Perth Concert Hall had to be disposed of when we forfeited the management order on that building. So it's not physical cash, but it does have to be recorded as a loss. The other thing that's probably relevant there is the net reserve funds created. We'd actually anticipated during this year that our reserve funds would be decreasing when we paid capital contributions for the city's contribution towards the Wacker Aquatic Facility in the Perth Concert Hall. Those funds have still not yet been called by the state government, so we're happily keeping them invested and generating revenue to help support our funding profile. Next slide, please. Okay, so this one here is just a snapshot of the operating expenditure for the city in 23-24. There's probably a few worthwhile things to call out. First of all, the city's commitment to keeping our city clean and tidy, which is a $16.5 million commitment to waste and cleaning. We have a $9.5 million commitment to a community amenity, which is obviously very much about the city's safety and keeping our city not just clean, but a safe place to be. There's an $11.1 million commitment to activation and events, and $6.4 million in grants and sponsorship. Those are obviously all priority areas for the city, and you can see there's been significant investment in those. The rest of the diagram there gives you the breakdown on the other components or other elements of that operating expenditure. But it's a well-balanced expenditure profile, and I think the city is delivering value for money to its ratepayers. Next slide, please. At the end of June 24, this is a quick snapshot of the city's overall financial position. There is $243 million sitting in cash and other investments. As I mentioned, the higher reserve balances there is because of the non-payment to this date of the capital contributions. Infrastructure and property sitting at 1.33 billion. That is very close to the numbers it was last year, but it has been reduced slightly by, again, that forfeiture of the Perth Concert Hall. In terms of the city's liabilities, that's what we owe. Generally, the city sits somewhere between $43 and $50 million, so that one is right on the mark, which suggests that we've been doing an effective job of managing those cash outflows. And the net assets, which is the city's net investment in its community assets, sits at $1.52 billion. That's the same as it was last year, which once again would have been some $30 million higher had it not been for the forfeiture of the concert hall land. The cashback reserves number you'll see there, this represents 18 different cashback reserves, each of which has an explicit purpose, and it provides for future funding opportunities. So whether it be projects or future payment of things like parking levies, it's not money sitting loose in a piggy bank. It's actually all got a respectable purpose, and it's useful in planning our forward capital programs, knowing that funding is there to deliver, for example, projects like the Claysbrook Cove, public realm enhancement, the Hay Street two-way project, a number of other significant capital programs. Next slide, please. This particular slide gives, I guess, a very, hopefully, very simple overview of just how the city is doing in terms of its financial management. There are 7 financial ratios that local governments are required to calculate, and then by taking those 7 financial ratios, populating them into a model, it generates a graphical representation of them. The ochre or yellowy coloured shape in the centre of that graph is the perfect world. That's how you'd like all of the ratios to look. You'll notice on 6 of the 7 ratios, the city is actually well in excess of those ratios. The one where, for that particular year, we were actually a little below target was the asset sustainability ratio. The initial budget for the year would have had that comfortably sitting outside the graph as well, but the city took the time to get the planning right for the enhancement of the library facade, and as a consequence, that particular $7 million project fell into a subsequent year. So what that means is next year's graph's going to look really great. So that's probably all the explanation we need on that, other than the financial health indicator score there at 88. A score of 70 or above is required for a local government to actually justify or evidence sound financial management. So with a score at 88%, the city's certainly in the upper echelon and is doing a good job and has consistently done that sort of job for a number of years. And thank you. Next slide. And last one you'll hear from me. Just a quick overview of the actual financial highlights. First of all, the audit report for the city for 23-24, unqualified. That means no findings, nothing significant, no miscalculations or any defects in that way. There were also no matters of non-compliance noted or no improvement opportunities. That's pretty rare, but it's a great outcome, and I think the city can be very proud of what it has done in that regard. So we went into the 24-25 year in a very sound financial position with one of the lowest rates increases of all metropolitan governments. We were sitting at 2.95%, which was sitting right at the bottom end of those increased. We've also continued to strategically reposition our finances and build a sustainable financial model. We've conducted a significant service review and are just in the process of implementing those findings right now. And we continue to enhance and refine the city's 10-year long-term financial plan so that it becomes not only a quality financial blueprint for the city, but relevant and current. And that particular review has happened just this month. So we're in a good place for the future. And I think the city can be, and the city's ratepayers can be confident that the city's financial management is being well executed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Financial Officer. We're not in an environment where a round of applause or hand clapping is appropriate, but you can see, and certainly in the summary, outlines the good hands that we are in with our Chief Financial Officer. So thank you very much. We will now move to the acceptance of the electors of the 23-24 annual report, incorporating the financial statements ending June 30, 2024. All electors who are present are entitled to vote on any matter to be decided at this meeting. However, voting is not compulsory. The same process will be followed when we move to general business section of the agenda. Electors may move and second motions following, which the motion will be put to a vote. You'll be asked to raise your hand to indicate your vote. However, voting is not compulsory. Item 4.1, accepting the report. The city has prepared a motion for consideration by electors, which reads as follows. Item 4.1, that the 2023-24 annual report, inclusive of financial statements and the auditor's report for the City of Perth, be accepted. Would someone in the gallery like to move this motion? I'll take that from you, Adam. If you could just state your name and confirm that you are an elector for the City of Perth.
I am Adam Pagan.
Thank you for the minutes. And if I can seek a seconder. William Walter. Okay. What we don't have here is... Yep, okay. Okay, Adam, would you like to speak to the motion? And that's just...
No, I guess you're doing that. No.
Thank you. And seconder, would you like to speak to the motion? Okay, I'll now put the motion to a vote by show of hands. Those who do support the motion, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. And those who do not support the motion, I confirm that motion is now carried. Thank you. We now move to general business, where motions and questions are raised by electors and will be considered. Any questions or motions raised here today must relate to matters that affect the local government and may be ruled out of order if they do not. Please note that the motions carried at the meeting are not binding on the City of Perth. However, they will be reviewed by the administration and a recommendation provided to the council. The questions and responses provided at this meeting must be included in the minutes to this meeting. Questions taken on notice will also be responded to in the minutes. Tonight we have received 3 motions from electors and 13 electors have raised questions amounting to 37 questions. Just bear in mind that there is 5 minutes allowed per person for questions and answers from administration. But those questions that we're unable to get to or questions that are raised without notice will all be dealt with in the minutes and answered accordingly. So we have, in order of people who have raised questions and motions, I will now invite John Morrison to please step forward. Great to see you, John. If you could please state your name and address and confirm that you are elector of the City of Perth.
John Morrison.
Thank you, John. So,
John Morrison, 181, Adelaide Terrace, East Perth, where we have lots of tree roots.
thank you, John. If you'd like to state your motion.
Question for the City of Perth Council. Can the Council confirm whether it is aware of the safety hazards posed by tree roots protruding from the footpath along Adelaide Terrace, East Perth, specifically in front of the Fairlanes and Concerto buildings, and what immediate and long-term measures does...
Testing. Do you want me to repeat it? I'll start again. Extra 5 minutes? No. Okay.
We'll give we'll give you an extra 30 seconds. And just to help with proceedings, John, when you get to 4 minutes, rather than interrupt you, I'll just give you a little ding.
Good luck.
And then you'll know you're getting to your last 60 seconds.
What immediate and long-term measures does the council intend to implement to rectify the issue and ensure pedestrian safety? Motion to the City of Perth Council.
Actually, John, what we might do is we'll just deal with the question and then move to the motion. And
Fine.
That way, through to you, to the CEO.
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. Could I please request the General Manager, Infrastructure and Operations respond to that question?
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Thank you, John, for the question. I'll respond to the question in 2 parts. The first part is that the City manages more than 9,000 street trees, which are planted for the benefit of the public. The Moreton Bay fig trees mentioned here are over 50 years old and have been valued by the City's arborist at $41,500 for its amenity and ecological value. The tree has the potential to sequestrate 42 tonnes of CO2 over the lifespan of the tree. In addition, a tree of this size minimises the urban heat island effect, purifies the air and acts as a buffer to street noise whilst also providing vital habitat connectivity. The City monitors and manages pedestrian paths to ensure alignment with the relative Australian standards. In November 2024, paving was relaid and resin-bound aggregate applied to the tree well surrounds in front of the Concerto and Fairlanes building. Following recent site inspections, no trip hazards or path issues adjacent to the properties at 181 to 189 Adelaide Terrace were evident. In response to the second part of the question around long-term measures, the City of Perth audits all pedestrian paths regularly. Any maintenance issues are rectified as a priority. Where a site is considered unsafe and the hazard cannot immediately be rectified, the site is identified with hazard indicators to ensure people are aware of the hazard and not exposed unnecessarily to the risk. We appreciate members of the public alerting the City to these issues when they become evident. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Heard it all before. As per my email to Mayor Basil Zemplis and CEO Michelle Reynolds on Wednesday, January the 22nd at 2:24 p.m, I've detailed a history of the response by the City of Perth to our tree issue, and I totally reject and have no faith in your reply whatsoever.
With that in mind,
21st...
sorry, John, just with that in mind, I might have to get you to the motion. I just want to get the motion heard and voted on, if that's okay. Thank you, mate.
I'm in your house.
Yeah, if we could, otherwise we're going to run out of time and we won't get the motion up. Unless you'd rather ask the questions and put the motion on notice.
No, I've got several statements I need to finalise for.
Fortunately, we can't have statements. It's questions and motion time. There's no statements.
Well, I disagree.
Sorry, mate.
And the reason being is, and I'll just say the one, I like 8. We can put a man on the moon, right? 21st of July, 1969, last one landed on the moon.
Just click on it'll reset.
All right. 56 years later, the city of Perth are unable to control our tree roots. Now, your Amy, who was the Quality and Stakeholder Officer, told us early on this week the trees are essentially wild and cannot be controlled. Unbelievable. I do not want this motion to be sent to the Department of Mirrors, because they just look into it and nothing ever happens. Now, at the end of the day, $83.4 million of all these people money, right? Everybody here is giving you guys $104.2 million in rates, of which you all get, and the staff below, 700 of you, $83.4 million. What do we get in return? I'm going to help you. I've offered alternatives with the root guard terrain system, which has been in operation in the UK and Europe for 50 years. Very simple. So you've got a new format. This is where I'm helping you guys. You've got 3 things to do.
John, I'm sorry, mate.
Rubbish,
I'm going to have to wrap you up there.
roads, and roots.
And roots, I'll do like that. Can we move to your motion very quickly, John? Otherwise,
Sure.
we're going to run out of time. I don't want you to miss out on it, that's all. Do you want to state your motion, please?
Yeah, I state the motion that you fix all the bloody roots in front of Concerto and Fairlanes.
Okay. Would anyone like to second the motion? Could you please state your name? Robin Harvin, for the record. Thank you very much. Would anyone else... Okay, so where are we? Mover, would you like to speak to your motion? Or you complete?
I think I've said enough.
Perfect, that's okay.
If you haven't got the message, I'm happy to repeat it.
No, that's fine. It's just the process. Seconder, would you like to speak to the motion? No. John's covered it. Thank you. What we'll do now, though, we'll move to a show of hands. Those who support the motion, could you please raise your hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those against?
Thank you.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Appreciate your time, mate. And apologies for the time constraints, guys. Unfortunately, that's the process that we follow. I'd also now like to invite Gray Rowan to please step forward. Is Gray here? Yes. Gray, if you could please state your name and address and confirm that you're an elector of the City of Perth.
My name's Gray Rowan, live at Unit 1-5 the Avenue, and yes, I am a voter.
Thank you, and I believe you have a question for the meeting, and your time starts now.
Okay, the avenue between Hackett Drive and the Fairway intersection along the avenue has become a speedway, particularly late evening for groups of motorbikes and also for very noisy cars. It carries heavy construction traffic for building sites further down in the town. The city about 6 months ago took out a raised platform at the Fairway intersection and installed 2 speed bumps. Last week, the 2 speed bumps were removed and replaced with 2 raised platforms. Would question why those events occurred, but none of this addresses the section between the 2 intersections mentioned above. What will the city do about this unacceptable traffic, please?
Thank you, Gray. Through to the CEO.
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. If I could invite the Acting General Manager, Planning and Sustainability to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. So, look, the city did make some adjustments to, we believe, improve the traffic management and the safety around the avenue on the 20th of January this year. Now, in terms of the raised intersection, obviously been planned, raised intersection has been removed, as you say, and that's really also due to the ongoing noise and maintenance challenges that we've experienced with that. So we have got the raised plateaus which have been installed instead to provide what we believe is effective traffic management, calming around the intersection. Now, in terms of the avenue, it is a busy arterial road, as we all know. It's carrying over 5,000 vehicles a day. So while it's not a direct as Stirling Highway, it does offer an appealing alternative to local drivers, particularly given the scenic route near the river. So our data shows that average speeds are generally well controlled, indicating responsible behaviour by drivers. Now, the traffic data also shows a slightly higher presence of larger vehicles, whether it's the rigid trucks at 4% or the prime movers at 0.5%. So that's likely due, as you say, to the ongoing construction in the area, and there are limited alternative routes available to them. So we do monitor, the city monitors the traffic volumes, and we also do collect data post-construction of the raised plateaus, and we'll be doing that, when the school period starts, so we can see how it works. In terms of safety, over the last 5 years, there have been 3 minor non-injury crashes around Hackett Drive and Fairway. This is considered a low incident rate and reflects generally what we consider to be safe driving conditions in the area. We don't see the evidence that there's excessive speeding contributing to serious crashes. The avenue, so I suppose, the avenue does play an important role to the local transport network, and it does connect residents and it does help for daily travel through Nedlands. So while the high traffic volumes, yes, they can be challenging, they aren't considered to be a safety concern based on the crash data. Additional traffic calming measures beyond those already implemented may lead to increased noise or congestion on nearby roads. So we've got to weigh those up. So for now, the city is focused on balancing those accessibility needs and the safety with our ongoing monitoring to ensure the measures in place remain effective. It's worth noting that coupled with further initiatives that the city's investigating with main roads, we're looking also about the speed limits into the future. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your question, Gray.
Can I comment? Am I allowed to do that?
It's a question, not a comment session, unfortunately. It's just the process that has been built up.
Well, I would question statistics. They're wonderful things. And they produce answers that some people want.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, moving along. I understand that Susan Graham-Taylor has submitted questions, however is unavailable to attend tonight's meeting. We've been advised that James Williams will be asking those questions on her behalf. I'll now invite James Williams to step forward.
Thank you.
Hi,
James Williams, 27 Canimbla Road, Nedlands, and I am an elector.
Thank
you. My apologies. I don't have it in front of me. I printed out the wrong one. My apologies for that.
Is that the question?
No, I'm sorry. I've printed out the wrong piece of paper. My apologies.
We might be able to help you. We might have a copy of the question if that's what you're looking for.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a copy.
Sorry about that. Okay, the question is, has the City of Perth examined details of the proposal to assess any negative impacts for the ratepayers? If yes, what are the impacts? The question is the siting of ferry terminal at Matilda Bay will have major environmental and recreational impacts affecting the amenity of the area. And question B, if I may, if no, how will the City of Perth work with ratepayers to ensure that their views, knowledge and ideas on the environmental and social impacts of Metronet on the Swan are taken into account?
Thank you for the questions through the CEO.
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. If I could invite the General Manager, Planning and Sustainability to respond, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Hello. So the ferry service expansion project, it is a state government-led initiative, as we know. So the city has recently had a high-level briefing from state government about the preliminary stages of the project. It is very early stages at this time, so we actually we're not at a place where we can actually assess those impacts. But understanding and mitigating all these impacts, environmental and recreational, will be the responsibility of the state government. So as the state undertakes planning for this project, the City of Perth, as a key stakeholder, we will be advocating for the matters to be addressed. In terms of your second question, in terms of your second question, the city will be advocating to the state government to undertake comprehensive engagement with the city and directly engage with the community. Concerns and questions, I appreciate, whether they're social or environmental impacts, they do need to be directed also to the Department of Transport and the Public Transport Authority, because they're the lead agencies actually on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I do for Brian Landenberg, who also can't attend. I don't know if I can continue with that question.
Unfortunately, we do have to stick to the schedule of the questions as they've been raised in that order. So,
Okay.
yeah, so but we certainly, everything will be taken on notice, and every question that we don't have the time to address tonight will be followed up in our minutes.
Thank you.
And answered fully. I'd now like to invite Tom Wilson to please step forward.
Tom Wilson is unavailable.
Is that okay?
Deputy Mayor, Tom has asked that I read his question on his behalf.
No problem, mate. If you could please state your name and your address.
Gray Rowan, 1, number 5, The Avenue, and yes, I am a ratepayer and voter.
Thank you.
Tom Wilson's question is, bibliotechnicians have assisted in installing the locker and returns chute and setting up the equipment to interact with Symphony workflows, the same software that the City of Perth Library currently uses. Customers can put a book on hold and it is placed in the locker for collection with their library card. Can we consider getting one of these in Crawley, say at the Broadway Fair Shopping Centre? We currently find it inconvenient to get into the centre of the city to the library as Crawley residents, and this would give the city a cost-effective way of servicing Crawley residents with the library facilities without building another branch. This new technology is now available to make this happen cheaply and easily.
Thank you. CEO, do we have a response to this question?
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. If I could invite the General Manager, Community Development to respond, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. The City of Perth Library did explore the option of installing a book vending machine outside our own library several years ago. At the time, the cost, maintenance and ongoing management requirements proved prohibitive, and the initiative at that time was not pursued. The library team does regularly review how it can extend services into the city's neighbourhoods by looking at services offered at neighbouring libraries such as Nedlands Library, and the city does offer a monthly home delivery service to those unable to visit their closest public library, including our own. The city will continue to explore options such as the Biblioteca remote locker system and review whether this is a more financially and operationally viable option pending the cost and maintenance requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now invite Muriel Rowan to step forward, please. Muriel, if you could please state your name and address, and that you're an elector of the City of Perth.
Muriel Rowan, 1 Farley Avenue.
Try that now.
Okay, and I am an elector. We're new to the area as of the middle of last year, and I was wondering what the intent when redesigning and rebuilding the playground at J.H. Abrahams Reserve was. While there are positive features of good shade provision and balancing opportunities, there seems to be a lack of more general activities suitable for a broader age range. There is a lack of sand play, water play and suitable swings. The only swing, the disc basket swing, is currently too high for effective practical purposes across an age range. How does the city plan to cater for younger and older children? The concrete slide, while meeting standard regulations, seems hazardous for young children as it is currently presented. What is the intention of the concrete blocks, and why do they not meet the Australian standards for the fall zones? Thank you.
Thank you, Muriel. Through to you, CEO.
Thank you very much. I'll invite the General Manager Planning and Sustainability to discuss any planning issues, and if necessary, the General Manager Infrastructure and Operations to talk construction. So commencing with our General Manager Planning and Sustainability, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. So thank you for the question, first of all. And look, the city will be arranging a site visit so we can better understand some of the issues that you're raising. But as an interim, I'd also like to provide the following responses to you. So J.H. Abrahams Reserve Playground was designed by consultants for Landscape Studio. They're specialists in designing spaces for children and for young adults. And that was done in consultation with the City of Perth and also the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions. Now, the design incorporates a variety of play opportunities for a wide range of children, including young adults. So using natural materials sympathetic to the requirements of the Swan Canning River Park. So the playground has a variety of play experiences and provides improved physical and cognitive play opportunities compared to the previous playground. Sand and water play elements require daily maintenance and visitation to inspect for the likes of sharp objects, whether it's syringes or broken glass. Incorporating water play requires either a significant use of water or a filtration system in the case of recirculating the system. So sand and water play opportunities are provided at the Wellington Square, being a regional play space. The basket swing provides inclusive use, allowing all ages to participate individually or in groups. Our understanding is that the height of the swing complies with the relevant Australian standards. Now, in terms of the concrete, slide, rock, scramble and deck, they comply with Australian standards. and provide a challenge for young children to negotiate. The limestone blocks include bevel edges and handrails to provide support. Concrete slides are commonly used in playgrounds for their ongoing durability and performance. So the slide consists of a solid slab of reinforced concrete, shaped, honed, polished to provide smooth sliding surfaces. The slide is a proprietary product supplied by a reputable company in accordance with the Australian standards. The city, as I said earlier, will arrange a site visit to better understand some of those matters. But thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. I understand that Tim Graham-Taylor has submitted questions but is unable to ask these questions this evening. These questions will be answered and addressed and included in our minutes. I'd now like to invite James Williams to step forward, please. Is James here? Yes, he is. Of course he is.
Thank you. James Williams, 27 Canimbla Road, Nedlands. I'm an elector of Perth.
Thank you, James.
Considering the proposed ferry service will share the Swan River with other recreational users, what measures can the city implement or facilitate to prioritise the safety of all river users?
Through the CEO.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Can I invite the General Manager, Planning and Sustainability to respond, please?
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. So, similar to my earlier answer, really, James. But the ferry service expansion, it's a state government project, and as I said, we've already received only very recently this month a high-level briefing on the project from the state government. So it is in very early stages, and that's good. It means we've got a chance to get involved. So, but understanding and mitigating those recreational impacts, it is going to be the responsibility of that state government. Concerns and questions on it, obviously we need to get to the Department of Transport and the Public Transport Authority so that they can get it on to their radar. Rest assured, we're going to be advocating to the state government as it undertakes it on its, make sure we have comprehensive engagement with the city and directly engage with our community on these matters. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for your question. I'd now like to invite Jason Bowe to step forward, please. Jason. Jason, please state your name and address.
Jason Nigel Bowe, 1101 at 8 Adelaide Terrace, East Perth.
Terrific.
And I'm an elector.
Thank you, Jason. Just quickly, just noticed you do have a few questions here,
Yep.
so if we could probably just go one question at a time in order to at least
I was
be
about to
given
ask
an
the question. Yep.
opportunity to answer accordingly. Thanks, mate. Go for it.
Just on indulgence, if I may, before I start, today marks the last day of the Year of the Dragon. So for everyone that is celebrating at home here, Happy New Year. But yeah, on to my questions. Question one, in the 12 months since the amendment of Council Policy 1.6 in February last year, which mandated that business class travel for all elected members when attending authorised functions, how much has been spent in total on attendance-related expenses, including but not limited to airfare, accommodation, support staff expenditure, gifts and reimbursements for elected members?
Through the CEO.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. If I could invite the General Manager, Corporate Services to respond, please.
Yes, thank you, CEO, and through you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Business class travel is not mandated in Council Policy 1.6, which is the Council policy regarding members' allowances, fees and entitlements. Elected member travel is, however, managed in accordance with Council Policy 1.6, as just indicated, and also Council Policy 4.5, which is the National and International Engagement Policy. The City reports on a financial year basis and doesn't disaggregate within financial years other than on a year-to-date basis. Expenditure on elected member travel in the relevant financial years that you've indicated in your question was in 23-24 $84,845, and in 24-25 year to date it's $72,068.
Thank you. Question 2. I suppose, how does that compare to the 12 months prior to the policy update?
To the CEO.
And again, through the General Manager, Corporate Services, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through you, Deputy Lord Mayor. As I just indicated, the City reports on a financial year basis and doesn't disaggregate within financial years other than on a year-to-date basis. Expenditure on elected member travel in the years relevant to your question was in 22-23 $10,312, and in 23-24, as I indicated in the previous question, $84,845.
We're doing quite well, Jason. Into the next question.
Thanks for that. Given the requirements set out in Council Policy 4.5, have all summary reports on key learnings been received by the Council?
Through you, the CEO.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Could I invite the Executive Director, Governance and Strategy to respond, please?
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Council Policy 4.5, titled National and International Engagement, was subject to a major review in late 2024. Since Council approved the revised policy on 10th of December 2024, there is a new requirement for a summary report on key learnings from each outbound delegation. Since the policy has been approved, there have not been any outbound delegations.
Next question.
I don't think that answered the question, but I'll keep going. Given the significant number of international and national engagements, as shown in the spending, I suppose, it is in the community's interest to view these summary reports and understand how these engagements are helping shape our policy platforms in our local community. How can the ratepayers gain access to view these summary reports?
Thank you for the question. Through the CEO.
And again, inviting the Executive Director, Governance and Strategy to respond, please.
And unfortunately, we have 30 seconds, so let's see how we go.
The City, through its various channels, communicates the highlights and learnings. The City, through its various channels, communicates the highlights and learnings from key outbound delegations to keep its ratepayers informed, both before, during and after visits. The summary is for internal purposes only.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you for your questions, Jason. Good to see you again. I would now like to invite another friend of the city, Dave. The microwave's gone off. If anyone's got their hot chocolate, would help yourself. I'd like to invite David Lee to step forward, please. Dave, you please state your name and address and that you're elector of the City of Perth.
I am an elector. My name is Dave Lee, 1324 Hay Street in West Perth, on the corner of Hay and Thomas.
Please ask your question.
Is it okay? I've asked a lot of questions. I've got 12. Is it okay if I summarise a little bit?
Unfortunately, no. You'll have to select which questions you'd like to have addressed, probably in the order of importance.
Okay. Can I ask if there is an additional budget available to spend a bit of money in the outskirts of the city on safety in 2025? Is there a budget for security on the cat bus? Because it's becoming increasingly unsafe. And is there also a budget to help homeless people who are sleeping in retail doorways in the city day and night? Because there are more and more of them. And it's not just unsafe for the people sleeping in doorways, but they're often used as a bathroom or a toilet. And it's unsafe for the owners cleaning the next day, for the staff who come in. And it's also unsafe for the customers. I'll go to the last question, just to save time. So,
David, if we could just address those ones first, okay. Because the issue with multiple questions in one question batch is it might actually be answered by different people in our team. So through to the CEO.
Thank you very much. And to that point, Deputy Lord Mayor, if I could invite for the first two elements of the question, the General Manager Community Development, and then after that on to the General Manager Planning and Sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. In relation to the CAT buses, the CAT bus system is overseen by the Public Transport Authority, the PTA, and as such, the safety and security is in the purview of this agency. Any queries related to safety and security on the CAT network should be directed to the PTA. You can provide your comments and feedback via phone on 089326 2000 or email inquiries@pta.wa.gov.au. In relation to the second part of your question regarding rough sleeping, the City of Perth keenly advocates for people for support to people experiencing homelessness and acknowledges the key responsibility for homelessness and housing is the state government. As per the state's all paths lead to a 10-year homelessness strategy. The city's rangers and security officers provide a welfare-first response to any of our vulnerable population, including those sleeping rough. Individuals are engaged and, where appropriate, referred to the Department of Communities through our direct reporting to them. Our community safety team works with businesses directly who may be impacted by rough sleeping to provide advice on reporting to the appropriate agency. In addition, they provide advice on building safety and resilience utilising the crime prevention through environmental design global principles. Thank you.
Through the Lord Mayor, I think we may need to also answer question 1, which is the introduction and budget. Do we have additional funding for police, ranger and security patrols? Thank you, General Manager.
Thank you, CEO. Through the Deputy Lord Mayor, community safety is a key focus for the city. We currently have regular Safe City patrols and incorporate rangers and security officers into those patrols. Our Safe City patrols are supported by the City Watch Surveillance Centre that operates 24/7 with an extensive CCTV network. That helps monitor and coordinate responses to the issues identified. WAPOL, the WA Police, is also embedded within this centre on a 24/7 basis. The City is unable to comment on police resources. However, there is a strong working relationship between the organisations, including the operation of a central city safety working group, which meet regularly comprising WAPOL, Department of Communities and the City. This forum is a forum that raises and prioritises issues which assists in coordinating a response across agencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Does the city have a budget for additional street?
Thank you, David. Through to the CEO.
If I could invite the General Manager, Planning and, Infrastructure and Operations to respond, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. The city has a 5-year lighting plan which sets out the priorities for the city. The 5-year lighting plan is informed by a Lux level study and community feedback. Over the next 5 years, the city plans to continue to upgrade existing Western power lights in all our neighbourhood areas, including Crawley, Netherlands, East Perth and West Perth. If you have any areas of specific concern, please raise with the city through our website info@cityofperth.wa.gov.au. Thank you.
Got 30 seconds, let's go. Which question would you like answered?
Let's go with the first one.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
If I could invite the General Manager Commercial Services to respond to the first question, and if we have enough time, the General Manager Planning and Sustainability.
Thank you for your question, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Main Roads WA is responsible for and oversees the operation of clearways within the city. This includes the operation of towing services. This feedback is therefore best directed to Main Roads WA.
Thank you. That's the answer. David, thank you very much for your questions. There's 15 questions in total, and I believe you did mention in your email that you understood that they wouldn't get all seen to today. We'll be following up in due course, and again, thanks and great to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. I will now invite Michelle Nutting to come forward to raise a motion. Michelle, please state your name and address and confirm that you're elector of the City of Perth.
I'm Michelle Nutting. I'm at 47 Forest Avenue in East Perth, and I am an elector.
Awesome, thank you. Would you like to now move your motion?
Thank you very much. My motion is to prioritise the safety and security of the people who live, work and visit East Perth at a practical level by addressing the unsecured and empty properties or land and how they attract antisocial behaviours, harbour public drunkenness and drug use, invite squatting and the associated health hazards from rubbish, sharps, glass, etc.
Thank you for the question, Michelle. Sorry for the motion. Would anyone like to second the motion? Thank you. If you could, gentleman at the back, if you could state your name and address and that you're elector of the City of Perth.
Neil Harvey, Mason Street, East Perth.
Thank you. Michelle, would you like to speak further to the motion? You don't have to, but it's obviously an opportunity.
That's all right, thank you. I will just add a little bit of background. The unsecured and vacant properties have become a magnet for squatters and the antisocial behaviours that I mentioned. Our residents are feeling unsafe. They're talking about moving out. They're feeling unheard and powerless. They have been verbally and physically assaulted just in the last 2 months. Our businesses are losing customers. They're talking about closing. They've had furniture stolen. They're having to clean up rubbish and sharps on a regular basis. Our bus drivers, our police, our ambulance personnel suffer verbal abuse and physical harm when they come to East Perth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Seconder, would you like to speak? Covered? Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the motion? Anyone against the motion? With that, what I would like to do is I'll move the motion by a show of hands. And I think that's carried. I'll just quickly move the motion for those against. Motion carried. Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite Jane Boxall to step forward. Is Jane here? There she is. Jane, if you could please state your name and address and confirm that you're elector of the City of Perth.
Good evening. Jane Boxall, 25 Hardy Road, Nedlands, in the City of Perth. To the Deputy Lord Mayor, I'm asking this question with the presumption that the City will represent us to the body which is Kings Park, will represent the residents to that body, even though I know that the City doesn't run Kings Park. The fires in LA neighbourhoods are a timely reminder of the havoc they can wreak in residential areas in a very short space of time. What measures are being taken in Kings Park to make sure that nearby residences are not in danger of destruction from a wildfire, such as has occurred a few years back above Mounts Bay Road? The embers from that fire, in particular, and other fires since, have floated over our houses. Will we see cold burns in winter, cameras to deter arsonists, and an absence of temporary dwellings or cabins in the park with their potential to accidentally initiate fires in surrounding heavy bushland? Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, for your question. Through to the CEO.
Could I invite Lord Mayor, the General Manager, Planning and Sustainability, to respond to that question?
CEO and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. So, hi Jane.
Hello.
So, Kings Park is under the care, control and management of the BGPA, as you know. So, and they do have a bushfire management and response plan documents, and the objectives and strategies are to implement that. And I suppose it comes down to, I hear what you're saying in terms of the city engaging with Kings Park to make sure that those matters are fully addressed in their planning and how they're going to respond to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I would now like to invite Neil Harvey to please step forward. Neil, please state your name and address and confirm you're elector of the City of Perth.
Yeah, Neil Harvey, Macy Street, East Perth. I am elector of the City of Perth. The word vibrancy is often thrown about, and it's a good thing. We know it's a good thing because people keep talking about it. When the town planners and looked at redeveloping East Perth last century, back in the 90s, they did a wonderful job of redeveloping and redeveloping East Perth and Claysbrook, and they certainly had visions, I'm sure, of it being a vibrant place to live. And it is a wonderful place to live, but a downside is the lack of vibrancy in our main street, our high street of East Perth, Royal Street. So my question is, what measures are being investigated or carried out to encourage the many vacant commercial properties in Royal Street, East Perth, to be leased in the foreseeable future? And I guess we all know that the background to this is that the properties I'm referring to are being owned by one or two or a small number of landlords, and they seem to have a stranglehold on the vibrancy of where we live, which should be a showpiece of our city. It's where a vast portion of our population lives. So what can be done to make our high street in Royal Street, East Perth, a more vibrant place by having some shops being in those vacant properties or some other uses other than just empty shop fronts?
All right, thank you very much for your question. Through to the CEO.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Could I invite the General Manager, Planning and Sustainability to respond, please?
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. Hi, Neil. So we do have dedicated business support officers at the City of Perth, and I suppose one of the things we do try to do is connect those property owners with the leasing agents and with potential new businesses. So we try hard as we can to do that. But as you allude to, it's hard to influence private landowners in terms of what they do on their properties. Some of the things that we have, initiatives we have put in place though, is around the business grants that we have put in place. They're the business improvement grants, but also more recently the business relocation grants. And that's to try and be one of those levers to the business community and to those to those landowners to try and motivate them to do something with their properties. Also, I would just add, later this year we'll be advertising a new planning scheme. And with that comes all the land use permissibilities that can occur at the ground floor of these properties. And get involved in that process as well as to what the land use permissibilities are and whether we've got those right as to be as flexible as possible to get things happening on those ground floors. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Neil. I'd now like to invite Anna Vanderblom to come to step forward. Anna, if you could please state your name and address and that you're elector of the City of Perth. There's just Anna. There's just a little button. There's just a little button in front of you to the right-hand side on the deck. There we go.
Thank you. That's better. And yes, Deputy Lord Mayor Bruce Reynolds, CEO Michelle Reynolds, councillors, administrative staff of the City of Perth, congratulations on yet another year of excellent performance and service to the city. And thank you also for providing this opportunity for ratepayers to have some of their concerns addressed. Giving the limited time, I'd like to start off with question 2. The Crawley Nedlands ratepayers within the City of Perth would appear to be the only ratepayers who do not receive notifications from their city via Australia's most widely read local newspaper, The Post. In this year's budget, the city spent around $20 million on promotion, which included billboards about the city and a range of outlying suburbs, as well as a series of fireworks displays in the city. When will the city review its media policy and start advertising its events in our local Post newspaper for the benefit of residents and at a minuscule cost compared with its centre of the city-based promotions for a wider audience, which do not benefit our local ratepayers who are helping to foot the bill? Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Through to the CEO.
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. And if I could invite the Executive Director, Governance and Strategy to respond to that question, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. The centre of the city promotions referred to are designed to encourage people to visit the city and support our ratepayer businesses. Local community press has been included in this program.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Next question. As a follow-up from my question raised last year concerning the Lord Mayor's potential conflict of interest in standing as a Liberal candidate, A, can the city identify any ways its relationship with the state government has been impacted by this duality? B, can the city identify any ways its representation of its ratepayers has been impacted by this duality? And I'd like to cite a very clear example of concern. A ratepayer had invited the Lord Mayor and the ABC to attend a media event to highlight concerns regarding the potential impact of a ferry station based near boat clubs at Matilda Bay. And as you can see from tonight, it's quite an issue in our area. However, both the Lord Mayor and the ABC were diverted from attending by party politics. And C, if the Lord Mayor were to return to his position at the city after the state election, what measures would be in place to ensure local government representation is the primary focus? Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Through to the CEO.
Thank you very much, Deputy Lord Mayor. Oh, I hope I get a round of applause then, because I'm going to say...
I'm sure it was directed at you, Michelle.
Anna, thank you. The city really does work very constructively with the state government and more broadly the various tiers of government, and we pride ourselves on behaving and conducting ourselves professionally always. In relation to the role of the Lord Mayor, the second part of your question, the Lord Mayor is actually required, and there are many provisions within the Local Government Act that define his or her functions and obligations of a Lord Mayor. So I think if the Lord Mayor were to return to his position, it is quite clear his obligations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there time for a third, or are we running out of time?
Yeah, I think we can do that easily.
Sorry?
No problem. Let's do it.
Okay. Tree planting on Monash Avenue. Thank you for the excellent tree planting program in our area, particularly at Abraham's Reserve and the greening of the medium strip, which people are all talking about. This summer has highlighted the need for shade along Monash Avenue, particularly between Hardy Road and Hampton Road on the southern side, opposite facilities like the dental hospital. This is a highly frequented area as it includes a busy bus stop and connects the residential and hospital area with businesses including cafes on Hampton Road. Could we request that tree planting along Monash Avenue be made a priority? And looking at today, when we were at the bus stop, we noticed that some of the trees have actually disappeared because of groundworks. That's part of the lack of shade problem.
Thank you, Anna. Great questions. Through to the CEO.
Thank you very much. And very quickly to the General Manager, Infrastructure and Operations, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. And a great question, and I've got I think an answer that you're going to like. Infill tree planting to improve canopy coverage, provide shade, reduce heat island effect is a key driver for the city's urban forest plan. Replacement tree planting has commenced along Monash Avenue with several trees planted in the past 12 months. Subject to ground conditions, plans exist to plant a further 26 trees between April and May of this year. Information on the urban greening strategy includes tree planting can be found on the city's website under the Street Tree Map 2024, which highlights the proposed species and locations for planting. Residents will be informed of the works prior to commencement, and then I've got a website address for you which we can provide. Thank you.
And could I say thank you to the managers in the city who put so much effort in coming out and meeting with our residents and sorting their problems. And Alan's a very special person. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. I understand now that we have Brian Landenberg, who has submitted a question, however is unavailable tonight to attend. We have been advised that James Williams will be asking those questions on his behalf, and James has been very popular tonight and doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. James Williams, 27 Kanimbla Road. I am an elector. Okay, Brian has asked the following question. Given that it's been reported that the State Planning Minister has recently indicated he wants rezoning for more infill in Peppermint Grove, plus the reports that the WA Planning Commission has overruled the City of Perth's rejection of the proposed student accommodation in Fairway, Nedlands, will the city have any effect on or control of future infill planning and development to ensure infill development that respects the local culture and character of the street or area, or will the city continually be overruled by the WA Planning Commission and the State Planning Minister?
Thank you. Through to the CEO.
If I could invite the General Manager, Planning and Sustainability to respond, please.
Thank you, CEO, and through the Deputy Lord Mayor. So, the City of Perth's local planning strategy actually does have a growth target of 55,000 residents by 2036. And we've actually broken that down for each of the neighbourhoods. I think it's important that in the strategy it actually identifies what we call character areas. Now, this is to ensure that as we do the long-term development of the city, that the character of these areas is respected in new developments. So these planning directions set out in the new planning strategy, we're incorporating those into our new planning scheme, number 3. And that's currently with the state government for approval to commence formal consultation. So in terms of Crawley Nedlands neighbourhood, yes, the West Australian Planning Commission has taken responsibility for planning of the area, and it's proposing preparation of an improvement scheme. Now, that scheme's going to include areas of Crawley and Nedlands, as well as UWA and QE2 Medical Centre precinct, as well as all the some adjoining areas in the City of Nedlands as well. So the City of Perth is working and will continue to work with state government in the preparation of an improvement scheme. And this will include provision of all our background technical documents, such as the character assessments that we've taken for this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite Catherine Jennison to step forward to raise a motion. Catherine, if you could please state your name and address and confirm that you are an elector in the City of Perth.
Hi, I'm Catherine Jansen, 41 of 123 Wellington Street, East Perth, and confirm that I am an elector. I'm raising a motion in relation to the premises of 142 James Street in Northbridge, which is currently the home of Pride Western Australia Incorporated. This motion requests the Council to direct the administration to firstly suspend any proposed tender process for alternative use of the premises, agree to enter into a new licence agreement or extend the existing licence agreement with Pride WA through to the end of financial year 2026-2027, and negotiate variations to the terms of the licence agreement and associated service agreement to reflect the ongoing collaborative partnership between Pride WA and the City of Perth, and provide for increased support towards community activities, engagement and use.
Thank you, Catherine. Would anyone like to second the motion? Thank you. Could you please state your name and address and that you're a City of Perth elector for the minutes?
Yes, Anna Family from 112-418 Murray Street, and I'm an elector.
Right, thank you very much. Mover, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of this motion for the Council to consider engaging directly to extend the lease for Pride WA at 142 James Street. Pride WA's presence at Northbridge Piazza has proven to be a vibrant and valuable asset, not just for the LGBTQIA+ community, but for the broader City of Perth community as well. The activation of the Piazza space by Pride WA has consistently exceeded expectations. Over 2023-2024, we averaged 14 events equating to approximately 180 attendees per month, well above the KPIs set by the city. Beyond numbers, this activation has had a tangible effect in reducing antisocial behaviour in the surrounding area, contributing to a safer and more connected community. Pride WA has also made significant investments in high-quality business technology and hospitality infrastructure, enabling a diverse range of events to take place, from book clubs to educational workshops, from social gatherings to healthcare sessions. These events provide a safe, inclusive space for individuals and community groups to engage, learn and grow. The Piazza has become a hub of cultural and social connection, a place where people can find belonging and visibility in the heart of the city. The importance of this space is further underscored by the City of Perth's LGBTQIA+ Strategic Plan 2025 to 2029. The plan identifies key objectives: growing the LGBTQIA+ community, promoting inclusivity and empowering organisations like Pride WA. Extending the lease aligns directly with these goals, ensuring continuity in the city's commitment to supporting diversity and inclusivity. Not renewing the agreement would be a retrograde step, undoing progress and requiring further investment to maintain alignment with the plan's objectives. Additionally, Pride WA is in the midst of a critical and exciting opportunity, the bid to bring the 2030 Gay Games to Perth. This international event would attract tens of thousands of visitors, generating significant economic and cultural benefits for the city. However, losing the Northbridge Piazza as our central logistical base would severely impact our ability to progress with this bid and the community development it represents. Lastly, maintaining Pride WA's lease reflects positivity on the City of Perth's support for non-profit organisations working to deliver international recognition and local impact. The lease's alignment with the city's existing sponsorship through the 2026-2027 financial year also avoids unnecessary administrative challenges while reinforcing the decades-long partnership between the city and Pride WA. In closing, I urge you to support the extension of Pride WA's lease at 142 James Street in Northbridge. This decision is not only a sound investment in the city's cultural and social infrastructure, but also a statement of leadership in fostering an inclusive and connected community. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much. Would our seconder like to speak to the motion? All right, all covered. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Anyone else like to speak for the motion? I think we can go to a vote. Yes, let's go to a vote. If you support the motion, could you please raise your hands? Okay, and those against the motion? I declare that motion carried, and we'll bring that to council accordingly. Thank you very much for the motion. Now we will consider any motions and questions from the floor. Are there any motions or questions from the floor? All right, let's do that again. We thought that was someone who was okay. Any motions or questions from the floor? There we go.
Adam Pagan, 63 Adelaide Terrace in East Perth, and I am an elector. First of all, great work to you, Deputy Lord Mayor, for chairing your first meeting. Despite some of the hecklers, I believe one of them might be a South Fremantle supporter, so
we're taking notes.
That might explain a bit. I've got a question and a motion. I do want to commend the CFO on a great financial report. I did notice that the second highest amount of revenue is from parking. We are losing 817 bays in the city. How do we, I guess the question is, how does the city intend to make up the shortfall in parking revenue without raising our rates?
Thank you for the question. Adam, I'll pass that through to the CEO. That'll be a question on this.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I think to really do justice to the question, we might take that on notice and to enable you the time for your notice on motion as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And I do have a motion to install more DC fast charging stations in the City of Perth for electric car charging.
Thank you. If we could have a seconder for the motion, please. Do we have a seconder? If you could state your name for the minutes. Just a bit louder, sorry. Sorry, no, of course. We've got you. Thank you very much, William. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, look, so EV adoption in EVs is rising quite rapidly, and there's only 2 places that you can fast charge currently in the city of Perth. One of them at Kings Park, which is very popular and is actually the most utilised in the Perth metropolitan area, and one at RAC in West Perth. So we'd like to see something on this side of the city and in the CBD.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seconder, would you like to speak to the motion? Yes. Yes, please.
Mr. Vice, I think that's a very good idea because we know electric cars are getting more and more around here, and service stations are everywhere, but as that demand drops off, I think we need to have more electric charging stations.
Thank you very much for that. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Would anyone else like to speak for the motion? You can come up, John. Yeah.
No, sorry.
No? Okay, that's fine.
Still thinking about tree roots. I'm trying to get over it.
All right. We'll now put the motion to the vote with a show of hands. Those who support, those who are against. The motion is carried, and that will come forward to administration and on to council. Thank you very much. Okay. Has anyone else got a question or a yes, young lady?
I've got a very short question. But before I say that, I know we are getting a fast charging in Claysbrook because I've seen the electric works being carried out right near Victoria Gardens. I think that's what it is anyway. My question is, why is it that the City of Perth, when you ring City Watch, don't say City Watch? Now say...
Sorry, just quickly, my fault. Could I just get your name and address for the minutes?
Robin Harvey, Macy Street, East Perth.
Thank you. Sorry, you can start again if you'd like.
In the past, when we rang, we would always ring this designated number for City Watch, and it would say City Watch, so you knew we were in the right place. When we ring that designated number now, it says City of Perth. Then I have to ask, are you City Watch? I queried why that was the case with the City Watch people, and he was told that, he told me that it was directed from on high. It seems a ridiculous thing and easily changed back. So could we please change it back? So that's my question. Why did it change?
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Through to the CEO.
Oh, I've got to stay here.
Thank you very much. So from on high, not certain about that particular instruction, albeit I would imagine that we want to present as a city that is on 24/7. And so when you ring the City of Perth, it will be for whatever service you need. So a seamless offering to our customers is paramount. And if it is that you need the surveillance centre, then someone identifying as City of Perth should be able to provide either immediate access or not, because the actual surveillance centre or that particular area that you're calling outside of hours also serves as a central point for all inquiries. So it could potentially be somewhat misleading if someone was after parking, crisis attention, or there could be another issue. So I think from a customer service perspective, identifying as you've got the right place at City of Perth, now we're here to help you, that's our key message.
Can I say anything? Yes? Can I just say that it's a different number to the City of Perth number? So it's a direct number to City Watch. And when you're flustered because something horrible is happening, it is really annoying to be told City of Perth. You just want them to say, they could say City of Perth, City Watch, if you like, but can't we just have it back? The seamless experience, it's actually not seamless. People ringing about parking can ring back the next day if they want to, but it is very frustrating. We've had lots of comments about it. Thank you.
Robin, can I just suggest that we take a further look at that and basically move it forward to see if we can do something that,
Just
'cause
in the
to me
scales.
it does
Yep.
sound like it's a common sense approach that you're putting forward.
Thank you.
However, it will go through to administration and they'll come back to us with some
Thanks,
information.
Bruce.
Thank you. Are there any more questions or motions? Sir in the back. If you
Hello.
can state your name and address.
Yeah, my name's Denise Simmons. I'm on Hay Street, 38 Hay Street.
Thank you, Danny. I've just quickly noted you've got
I'm going to
one
smash
question.
through them.
One question, 4 motions. Motion 6, we're ruling out of order, so we won't be in a situation for you to read that one and to address that one.
Okay.
But by all means, please go through to question 1. It's great
I'll
to
smash
see
through
you.
them. Okay, first one. Really want to appreciate all the effort and resources you've all put towards replacing and putting in new trees across the city, and also the team who actually do the hard work, which I think none of us are jealous of, especially in this heat. However, sometimes there are trees where they die, get vandalised, or otherwise removed. Metal plate goes over them. Sometimes they're replaced within a few months, other times years. There's a few trees that have been missing for 2 years, and the city knows it's there because they put metal plates over it. Some of them, there's a couple where they've actually been missing 3 years. So I'd like to raise a motion to have the city commit to improving the turnaround times and prioritising replacing trees as quickly as possible. And obviously, given seasonal considerations, be doing it within a year, wherever practical.
Okay, sorry, we're just going on 4 on your run sheet, so we're just catching up a little bit. Apologise for that. Have we got a seconder for the motion, please? If you can please state your name. Thank you very much. Would you like to speak to the motion? Danny, would you like to speak further to the motion?
No.
Okay, thank you. With that in mind, is anyone within the audience that would like to speak against the motion? Anyone else that would like to speak for the motion? Fantastic, we'll go to a vote. Those who would like to support the motion, please raise your hand. Fantastic, and those who are against the motion, raise your hand. With that, the motion is carried. Well done, thank you very much.
Second one, plastic. We all know plastic is something that we need to cut back on. The waste team is absolutely fantastic in giving amazing advice that's consistent with the state guidelines. However, unfortunately, the comms and marketing teams in the City of Perth, while they do some good work, they create a lot of plastic waste that is very quickly chucked away and turned over very quickly. For example, the tree wraparounds and other things which don't have very long lifetimes, and I've noticed increasingly so. So what I'm asking is for a motion for the city to commit to creating, wherever possible, plastic-free marketing and comms collateral with the goal of working towards phasing out anything that's short-term in lifetime by the end of the year.
All right, terrific. Really appreciate that question. Would anyone else like to second the motion? I think Jason just beat you just by a second. Jason Bowe has seconded the motion. Thank you very much. Would you like to speak further to the motion? Jason, would you like to speak to the motion? Would anyone like to speak for the motion? Any against? With that, we can move the motion to a vote. Those who would like to support the motion, please raise your hand. Those who are against the motion, please raise your hand. And that one's been easily carried as well. Fantastic motions. Thank you very much, Danny. And we'll rip into the next one, please.
These ones are really local, really petty, so I hope I have some of your support. Munster Lane, a lane just off King Street. It has about 50 apartments and commercial lots off it. We're a city of lights, but there's no lighting in that laneway. It's something which, it sounds really minor until you've walked out multiple times onto someone literally passed out with a syringe in their arm, without exaggeration, or hearing a noise and hearing it's police letting out massive tanks of nangs, or gas that people are inhaling. There's no city provided lighting, so the motion is for the city to seriously investigate how they can provide lighting in that space.
Fantastic, thank you. Can I please have a seconder for the motion? At the back, David Lee. Does David have to announce his name, or I can announce it? That's fine. Okay, would you like to speak further for the motion? David, would you like to speak to the motion? Would anyone like to speak against the motion? With that, anyone else for the motion? With that, we will carry the motion. Put your hand up for those in support of the motion. Okay, fantastic. And those who are against the motion? That motion's been easily carried as well. Is that 3 from 3 or 4 from 4?
Final one, and I'm going to smash through this one.
All right, well, we've got plenty of time.
So, Stirling Precinct. If for those of you who don't know, if you went to court and clubbing in the old days, it's where you'd park your car, east of the Cultural Centre, west of East Perth. Within about a 125-metre radius, there's been over 2,700 beds. Can I cram in 30 seconds?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes,
That's
there's
fine.
been over 2,700 beds built. There's about 600 under construction or planned within the next few months. The city within the precinct hasn't installed any or made any meaningful upgrades to their assets or any real capital investment. The motion is for the city to meaningfully investigate and work towards creating a precinct plan and a plan to invest in the precinct, which right now has no benches, no drink fountains, no public artwork, and no events or other meaningful investments for the last 15 plus years.
Okay, all right, terrific. Denny, on your list here, you've actually marked that as a question. Is that a question or a motion?
Sorry, it was meant to be a motion.
Okay,
a
that's
motion for the
fine,
city
no
to
problem at all. Can I have a seconder for the motion, please? At the back, Jason Bowe. Thank you, Jason. Would you like to speak for the motion? Any further, Denny?
Nothing.
Jason, would you like to speak for the motion? Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Anyone else within the audience like to speak for the motion? With that, we can move to a vote. Those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. You're on fire. Well done. Those against the motion? That motion is carried. We'll look forward to seeing that transgress through administration and ultimately to council. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions or motions from? Yes, there is. Yes, please come forward. Please state your name and address and that you're elector of the City of Perth.
Good evening. Cindy Levison, Unit 68, Panorama 42 to 52 Terrace Road, Perth East. Okay.
Far away. Thank you, Cindy.
Lighting along Riverside Drive. To light up the palm trees, the cotton palms along the straight stretch, and also the flame trees, to have lights in those to lighten it up. And on the curved part of Riverside Drive, there's the date palms that have a glass disc at the base of them. Wondering why they're there, and they've never been lit up that we can remember. We've been here 14 years in the city, and like to know why. I did ring Western Power. They said it was a City of Perth problem. Okay.
Just very quickly, we'll I'll just one question at a time, and then that way it gives us a chance to go through them.
Sorry,
Through
okay.
to the CEO. It's a question, yes. I'm just confirming that is a question, not a motion.
Yes. Right.
We'll take that question on notice, and the answer will come through administration via and arrive via the minutes to this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also increasing the seating along the boardwalk of Riverside Drive. At present, the seating is about 250 metres between each seat, which adds up to about 4 seats a kilometre, which is just beyond Langley Park. And creating, yes?
To the CEO, just quickly on that question.
Yes.
Could I just ask, and sorry, just to be really clear, are you asking for consideration of more seating, or are you asking us to explain why they're...
No, I'm asking more
For.
seating.
Yes.
Everything is more here.
Great.
That I'm asking for.
Great.
I want it
that's
done.
all very
Yes.
good. Just, I think then you might be putting up a notice of motion, which is suggesting that there be fairy lights or lighting up of Riverside Drive,
Yes,
which is
yes.
one notice of motion. Your second
Yes.
notice of motion would be in regards to seating and other amenity along
Yes.
Riverside Drive.
Yes.
And I'm not sure.
And one more.
So I
Okay,
think
so
we're
with
dealing
those
with
two,
those
so we can
motions.
deal with those two in the first instance, because we're at a
Yes.
place of learning here, and what we'll do is if we could restructure that one very quickly as a motion. So pretty much just state your question / motion again, and then we'll then seek a seconder.
For the seating, to increase the seating.
But let's do the lighting.
The
first.
lighting,
Yes.
okay. Lighting up the cotton palms from the base
Yes.
along the straight stretch of Riverside Drive.
Correct.
Also, lights in the flame trees on the south side of Langley Park. The discs, but that's, you're going to
That one's
check
kind of a
that
question,
out.
yeah. So we'll
why
check
they're
that one
not
out.
on.
So in the
Okay,
first
that's the date
instance-
palms.
Yep,
Yes.
so in the first instance, it's a motion for additional lighting in
Yep.
those two precincts.
Lights, lights, lights.
More lights, the better. We
We're
all
the
agree with
city
that.
of lights, and
Yes.
there's no lights.
Yes, fantastic.
Okay.
And so what we'll do, can I please have a seconder from, yes, we'll go for Adam Pakin to be the seconder.
Husband. Thank you, dear.
All right, that's okay.
He's been hearing this for years.
What we'll do is we'll get you to just say that again very clearly so we can capture it for our minutes.
Right.
The seconder, sorry.
Yeah, Cole Leveson.
Same address.
Same address. That's perfect. Thank you.
I think.
Would you like to speak? So we've got to pass the motion now. So what I'll do is I'd like to see if you'd like to speak any further on the motion. That's just to help the process. You don't need to because you've already stated it quite clearly now.
Yeah, okay.
And to the seconder, would you like to speak further to the motion? Just bearing in mind we want to get through the other motions.
Yes, I'd like to speak for the motion. It is the main entry into the city of
Mm.
Perth. We've done wonderful things with that new bridge that's been just built, but a lot of Riverside Drive is quite dark, uninviting. It's a great opportunity to have a welcoming
entrance
into the city. Long overdue.
Fantastic. Really appreciate that. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? No one else? Anyone else would like to speak further for the motion? With that, we can move forward to carry the motion, and then by carrying the motion, then it goes through to administration and it gets an opportunity to come towards us so we can vote on it and enact. Can I have a show of hands for those who support the motion within the gallery? Fantastic. Those who are against the motion? There we go. We've got our first motion carried. Well done. We have run out of time, but I'll tell you what. Let's do your last one. Basically, what you've got time for is one more motion. I think you might have 3 questions. For the question that isn't answered, or however many questions or motions that you have, for the one that isn't answered today because of the time constraints, what we'll do is we'll take that on notice. So if you can send that through to us, and then we'll basically be able to still action it accordingly.
Okay, that's email to Michelle Reynolds, who I spoke to on Friday. Last one is the opportunity of having picnic benches along the boardwalk in the date palm groves. You know, there's groups of 8. Nothing grows underneath it. To put picnic benches for people to come over, eat their lunch or whatever. But they're just dead. Nothing grows underneath them. And yes, that's yeah.
Fantastic, no problem. Can I please ask for a seconder for the motion? Please state your name for the minutes.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, he's the architect.
That's got nothing to do with
Yes, you're going to draw them up.
Again, it's
You
a
are.
great opportunity. There's beautiful shade with groups of trees, and you can see some beautifully shaped seats and benches, which will be very family orientated, attractive people to the foreshore, sit in the shade and enjoy the river views.
Too easy. I appreciate that.
And to upgrade the whole boardwalk, South Perth has done it well.
All right.
Not here.
Terrific. What I'll do is I'd like to see if anyone would like to speak against the motion. Would anyone else like to speak further for the motion? We can go to a show of hands. Those who support the motion, please raise your hand.
Yep.
Very well done. No problem. Those who are against, raise your hand. And that motion's been easily carried.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for that.
Thanks very much.
Your time and your efforts and your ability to get your motions through 100% duly noted. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. No action.
Okay, would anyone else have a question or a motion from the gallery? No more questions or motion. There being no further business. And one thing I'll just quickly like to mention is just to reinforce the fact that the councillors here are all members of our community, and we all share a lot of the concerns, and we understand a lot of the questions that you've put forward tonight. So unfortunately, because this process, it feels a little bit awkward, and of course, having trainer wheels, it is a little bit awkward. But we really support the fact that you've come out in numbers to share information that is information that we also hold dear to our hearts. We understand, but also there's information sometimes that hasn't come across our table or across our purview. So so I apologise for the time constraints and the process. But you have been heard, and you're always available to contact the city and the councillors. We are here to serve you, and we take that very seriously. It's something that is a responsibility that we are lucky to have, and with that, I will now declare the annual Electors General Meeting closed at officially 6:53. Thank you all for coming again. Thank you very much.
Could you all please rise for the Deputy Lord Mayor? Bruce Reynolds.